The wheelchair moved fast through the hospital corridor, expensive leather squeaking against polished floors. Yang stared ahead, his face blank as stone while two men in dark suits walked behind him. Nari gripped the handles, her perfectly manicured nails tapping rhythmically against the metal. He felt nothing. Not the cold air. Not the fluorescent lights burning overhead. Not even the woman he'd been with for 3 years pushing him forward. Then Clara turned the corner. She was rushing, phone pressed to her ear, tears streaming down her brown cheeks. She didn't see them. Her shoulder bag swung wide as she passed, and her fingers, warm, trembling, grazed his wrist for half a second. Yang's entire body seized. His eyes went wide. His breath caught in his throat. His toes curled inside shoes that hadn't felt movement in 4 years. He grabbed the armrest so hard his knuckles went white. "Stop her." The words came out rough, almost violent. The men moved instantly, blocking Clara's path. She stumbled backward, confusion flooding her face. "What are you doing? Let me through." They pulled her back toward the wheelchair. She tried to wrench free, panic rising in her voice. "Let go of me." Yang just stared at her, at the way her chest heaved, at the fire in her dark eyes, at the terror mixing with anger on her face. She slapped him. The sound echoed through the hallway. Silence dropped like a weight. Yang didn't flinch, didn't blink, just looked at her with something between shock and wonder. "I'm sorry." His voice was quieter now. "I thought you were beautiful. I didn't mean to scare you." Clara's hand was still raised, trembling. She looked at him, really looked, and saw something in his eyes that made her anger crack. She saw emptiness, desperation, loneliness so deep it made her chest ache. Her gaze dropped to his legs. "I'm sorry about your condition." She knelt, and before anyone could stop her, she placed her hand on his knee. A gesture of pity, of compassion. Yang felt lightning shoot up his spine. She stood and walked away, wiping her tears. He couldn't stop watching her go. Welcome to my channel, where every story pulls you into a world you won't want to leave. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now because trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Now let me tell you about Yang, Clara, and a touch that changed everything. Yang couldn't sleep that night. He lay in his penthouse bedroom, staring at the ceiling while Nari slept beside him. His wrist still tingled where Clara's fingers had brushed his skin. For years of numbness, of doctors telling him the damage was permanent, of feeling like a ghost trapped in his own body. Then one accidental touch, and suddenly he was alive again. "Find her," he told his men the next morning. By evening, he knew everything. Clara Washington, 28 years old, originally from Atlanta, moved to Seoul 3 years ago to teach English. She visited Seoul National University Hospital every Tuesday and Thursday evening. Room 304. Her father, Marcus Washington, had been in a coma for 6 months. Yang started showing up on Tuesdays. The first time was deliberate, but made to look accidental. He rolled past room 304 slowly, glancing through the open door. Clara sat beside a hospital bed, holding the hand of a man who looked like he'd been carved from the same strong features she had. She was reading to him, her voice soft and steady. She looked up and saw Yang in the hallway. "You," she said. "Me? Are you following me? I have appointments here too." Clara studied him for a long moment, then looked back at her father. "I'm sorry I slapped you. I deserved it." She almost smiled. "Almost. Who is he?" Yang asked, nodding toward the man in the bed. "My father, Marcus." Her voice cracked slightly. "He's been like this since July." "What happened?" Clara's jaw tightened. "Wrong place, wrong time. There was a fight outside a bar in Itaewon. Someone pulled out a weapon. He got caught in the crossfire." Yang's blood went cold. July. Itaewon. A fight that had gone wrong. He knew that night. He knew because his men had been there. Because that territory had been disputed ground. Because he'd been in that fight too. That's how he'd ended up in the wheelchair. But wait. Here's where it gets crazy. He didn't tell her any of this. Instead, he said, "I'm sorry." The Tuesday visits became routine. Yang would roll past room 304, and Clara would wave him in. They'd talk about small things. Her students and their terrible English puns. His supposed business meetings. The terrible hospital coffee they both pretended to enjoy. Yang listened and said little about himself. He couldn't. Every truth he owned was stained with blood. But he felt more human around her than he had in years. One Thursday evening in late November, Clara was particularly quiet. She sat beside her father's bed, tears running silently down her face. Yang rolled closer. "Bad day. The doctors are talking about moving him to long-term care. They say there's no brain activity, that we should start thinking about letting him go." Her voice was hollow. How do you let go of someone who's still breathing? Yang had no answer for that. Clara turned to look at him. Really look at him. Can I ask you something? Anything. What happened to you? How did you end up like this? Yang hesitated. The truth was impossible. A lie felt wrong. An accident, he finally said. Violence I should have avoided. Do you regret it? Every day. Clara reached out and placed her hand on his. Just rested it there, warm and solid and real. Yang's entire nervous system lit up. His legs trembled. His toes flexed. His calf muscles tightened and released. I think you're stronger than you believe, Clara said softly. If only she knew. That night, Yang had his men dig deeper into Marcus Washington's case. The report came back 3 days later. Marcus had been targeted. Someone had used the chaos as cover to try and eliminate him. Marcus had witnessed a transaction between rival organizations, had become a liability. The order to silence him had come from someone inside Yang's own organization. Yang hadn't given that order. He'd been too busy trying not to bleed out to know what his men were doing in his name. And here's where it gets even worse. The man who'd given the order was still in Yang's organization, still in power, still dangerous. Yang was still wrestling with the decision when Nari walked in. You've been different lately, she said, her voice cool and measured. I'm always different. No, this is something else. She moved closer. You're distracted. You smile when you don't think anyone's watching. Is that a crime? It is when I'm not the reason. Her eyes narrowed. Who is she? Yang said nothing. I'm not stupid, Yang. I'll find out myself. She left, heels clicking like a countdown. Tuesday came, and Yang rolled into the hospital with coffee from Clara's favorite shop. But when he reached room 304, Clara wasn't alone. A young man stood beside her, early 20s, with the same dark eyes and strong features. Yang rolled in anyway, holding out the coffee. Clara, I thought you might. The brother's face went white. Get out, he said, his voice shaking. Clara looked confused. Darius, what are you? Get out. Darius moved forward, stepping between Yang and his sister. Get away from her. Now. Clara stood up. Darius, calm down. What's wrong with you? That's him, Clara. Darius was trembling now. That's Yang, the man who runs half of Seoul's criminal organizations. The man whose people put Dad in this bed. The coffee cup slipped from Yang's hand. Clara turned to look at him, her expression shifting from confusion to horror. No, she whispered. No, that's not possible. Darius, you're wrong. He's just what, Clara? A friend. Darius pulled out his phone, showing her something on the screen. He's the man who gave the orders that night. Clara's hands were shaking. She looked at Yang, searching his face for a denial that never came. Tell him he's wrong, she said, her voice breaking. Yang met her eyes. I can't. The world stopped. Clara took a step back, then another. You knew, she breathed. All this time, you knew what your people did to my father. I didn't know at first. But you found out. Her voice cracked. When? Yang said nothing. You've been lying to me for weeks. I didn't give the order that hurt your father. I was a victim that night too. Don't you dare compare yourself to my father. Clara was shouting now. He was a good man. A teacher. And you? You're a monster. Every word hit Yang like a physical blow. Get out. Get out and never come near me or my family again. Yang turned his wheelchair and left. Behind him, he heard Clara collapse into sobs. In the car, Yang closed his eyes and tried to breathe through the pain. His phone buzzed. A message from Nari. Found her. Pretty little thing. I can see why you'd risk everything. Yang's blood turned to ice. Turn around, he told the driver. Now. His phone buzzed again. A photo. Nari, standing outside room 304. And in the background, barely visible, was Clara walking toward the exit. The message read, Don't worry. I just want to talk to her. Woman to woman. Yang tried calling. No answer. Find Nari. Find her now. And get security to Clara Washington. She's in danger. The next 3 hours were the longest of Yang's life. His men searched everywhere. Nothing. Then, at midnight, his phone rang. Unknown number. Hello, Yang. Nari's voice was cold. I have something that belongs to you. If you hurt her, you'll what? Roll over here and stop me. Nari laughed. This is how you repay me? By falling for some random woman. Nari, this has nothing to do with her. Let her go. She made you feel something I never could. Her voice dropped to a whisper. She made you forget you're broken. Where is she? But Yang, here's the thing. I've been doing some research on your little Clara. On her father. On what really happened that night in Itaewon. Yang's grip on the phone tightened. Your man, Gene. Your trusted lieutenant. He's the one who ordered the hit on Marcus Washington. And he's the one who shot you that night. Your own man put you in that wheelchair because you were getting too close to discovering his betrayal. The world tilted. Jean and I have been working together for months, building our own organization inside yours. And now we're ready to take everything. I'll kill you both. No, you won't. Because if you try, Clara dies. She paused. But I'll make you a deal. Sign over your assets. Give me everything, and I'll let her go. Young looked down at his useless legs. Fine, he said. You can have it all. I thought you'd see reason. You have 24 hours. The line went dead. Young called his doctor. I need you to run every test you have. Tonight. Right now. 2 hours later, doctors poured over scans. It's impossible, one doctor said. But there's definitely regeneration happening. Your body is trying to rebuild connections. Can I walk? Theoretically? Maybe. With intense physical therapy over several months. I don't have months. I have hours. Can you give me something? There are experimental stimulants. Neural enhancers. They're not approved, and the side effects could be severe. Heart failure. Stroke. Death. Give them to me. They injected him with a cocktail of chemicals that felt like fire in his veins. And then his right leg moved. Not a twitch. A deliberate, controlled movement. Yang grabbed the parallel bars and pulled himself up. His legs shook violently. But he was standing. Help me walk, he told the doctors. They supported him as he took one trembling step. Then another. More, he gasped. I need more of the stimulant. You'll die? Then I'll die walking. Give it to me. They injected him again. This time, when Yang took a step, his leg held. And the next step was stronger. He was walking. His phone buzzed. A location pin from Nari. An abandoned warehouse. By dawn, Yang could move without assistance. It wasn't graceful. Every step hurt. But he could walk. At 6 a.m., he headed to the warehouse alone. Clara was tied to a chair in the center, tape over her mouth, terror in her eyes. Jean stood beside her, weapon in hand. Nari sat on a crate nearby. Right on time, she said. Did you bring? Then she saw him. Standing. Walking toward them. Her face went slack. That's impossible. Jean raised his weapon, but Yang was already moving. For years of rage poured into every step. He closed the distance, knocked the weapon away, and drove his fist into Jin's throat. Jean went down gasping. Nari scrambled backward, pulling out her own weapon. Stay back. I'll shoot her. Yang stopped, raising his hands. You wanted my empire. Take it. Just let her go. You can walk, Nari said hysterically. You've been lying. I couldn't walk until yesterday. Until I had a reason to. Yang took a step forward. Let her go. Nari's hand was shaking. Behind them, Jean was getting to his feet, reaching for his weapon. Yang saw it happening in slow motion. Saw Jin's finger moving toward the trigger. He moved, dove forward, knocked Nari aside, grabbed Clara's chair, and pulled her down as gunfire exploded through the warehouse. Pain bloomed in Yang's shoulder, his leg, his side, but he kept moving, covered Clara's body with his own. Then silence. Yang looked up. His men had arrived, had taken down Jean and disarmed Nari. It was over. Yang rolled off Clara, gasping. Blood pooled beneath him. Clara ripped the tape off and immediately pressed her hands against his wounds. You're insane, she sobbed. You can barely walk and you came here alone. Had to, Yang managed. Had to make sure you were safe. Why? After what your organization did to my father. Because you made me feel human again. Blood bubbled at his mouth. Because when you touched me, I wasn't a monster. I was just a man who wanted to be better. Clara was crying openly now. You can't die, she said. You hear me? You don't get to save me and then die. Yang smiled weakly. Probably should have thought of that before I took 3 bullets. Sirens were approaching. I'm sorry, he whispered. About your father. About all of it. I'd take it back if I could. Shut up. Save your strength. Clara. I said shut up. She was sobbing. You have to live. You have to wake up and face what you've done. Yang's vision was getting dark. Promise me something, he said. Anything. Don't let them turn off your father's machines. Not yet. There's a specialist in Tokyo. Dr. Kenji Yamamoto. I've already paid him. He's willing to try an experimental treatment. Fresh tears spilled down Clara's face. Why are you doing this? Because I can't fix what I broke. But maybe I can help you save what matters most. The darkness closed in. Yang's last thought was that Clara was still touching him, still keeping him tethered to the world. He woke up 3 days later in a hospital room. Nari and Jean were in custody. His organization was in chaos, and his body was held together with stitches and tubes. But he was alive, and sitting beside his bed, fast asleep, was Clara. She looked exhausted. Yang tried to move, and pain screamed through every nerve. The sound woke her. Clara's eyes opened. She looked at him, and for a long moment, neither spoke. You're awake, she finally said. Unfortunately, the doctors said you shouldn't be. Said you lost too much blood. That your heart stopped twice. Worth it? Was it? Clara leaned forward. Was almost dying worth it? Yes. She shook her head. You're impossible. Another silence, full of everything unsaid. I called the specialist, Clara said quietly. Dr. Yamamoto. He's flying in next week to evaluate my father. Good. Why did you do it, Yang? After I told you I never wanted to see you again, why did you save me? Yang looked at her, at the woman who'd brought him back to life. Because maybe if I saved you, I could save myself too. Clara's eyes filled with tears. I don't know if I can forgive you for what your world did to my family. I know, but I also can't forget that you walked into gunfire to protect me, that you used your last conscious moments to help my father. She reached out and took his hand. So I don't know what to do with you, Yang. The moment her skin touched his, Yang felt it. That same electric current. His toes curled. His legs trembled. Clara felt it too. Her eyes widened. Did you just move? Yeah. How is that possible? Yang squeezed her hand gently. Maybe some connections can't be broken, no matter how much damage is done. Clara stared at their joined hands. This is crazy, she whispered. I know. You're a criminal. Your people hurt my father. We should hate each other. I know. But when I thought you were going to die, all I could think was that I couldn't lose another person. She stopped herself. Yang waited. Another person I cared about, she finished quietly. Before either could say anything else, the door opened. A doctor walked in, followed by police officers. Mr. Yang, the lead officer said, we need to ask you questions about the incident at the warehouse. About your organization. Clara's hand tightened on his. Yang looked at the officers. At Clara. At the choice in front of him. I want to make a deal, he said. What kind of deal? Full cooperation. Names. Operations. Everything I know. Yang's voice was steady. In exchange for witness protection. And medical treatment for Marcus Washington. Whatever he needs. Yang, no, Clara started. It's the only way, he said, looking at her. The only way to maybe fix some of what I've broken. If you've made it this far, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me what you think happens next. Because trust me, this story is far from over. The police accepted his deal. Over the next 3 weeks, Yang testified against men he'd worked with for years. Exposed operations hidden for decades. Burned down the empire he'd built. And through it all, Clara visited him. Not every day, but enough that Yang looked forward to her appearances like they were the only light in the darkness. Dr. Yamamoto arrived and evaluated Marcus Washington. There's brain activity, he told Clara and Darius. Minimal, but present. With the right treatment, there's a chance he could wake up. Maybe 20%. 20% is better than 0, Clara said. The treatment began. Experimental drugs. Neural stimulation. And slowly, impossibly, Marcus Washington started to show signs of improvement. His eyes moved under his lids. His fingers twitched. His heart rate responded to Clara's voice. He's fighting his way back, Dr. Yamamoto said. Yang heard about the progress secondhand, through his lawyer. He wasn't allowed to see Clara anymore. His witness protection meant isolation. Safety through disappearance. But 3 days before he was supposed to be relocated, Clara showed up at his protected location. She walked past the guards, past the officials, straight into the room where Yang was packing. You can't be here, he said. My father woke up. Yang froze. He's awake. Talking. Remembering. Tears streamed down Clara's face. You gave me my father back. Clara. She crossed the room and kissed him. Not gently, but with 4 months of confusion and anger and gratitude, and something that felt dangerously close to love. Yang kissed her back, his hands framing her face, his body coming alive. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. This is a terrible idea, Clara whispered. The worst, Yang agreed. You're a criminal. I'm a teacher. You're going into witness protection. I have a life here. I know. My brother will never forgive me. My father might never understand. I know. Clara pulled back to look into his eyes. But I can't stop thinking about you. Can't stop remembering how you destroyed your entire life to help my father. How you chose to be better. Clara, I'm not a good man. No, but you're trying to be. And maybe that's enough. She kissed him again. Or maybe I'm completely crazy. Probably both. She laughed through her tears. When do you leave? 3 days. Where are they sending you? I can't tell you. It's not safe. Clara nodded, understanding even though it hurt. So this is goodbye? Yang thought about walking away. About leaving her to live the normal, safe life she deserved. But his legs were trembling again. His body was responding to her presence. She wasn't just healing his nervous system. She was healing all of him. No, he said firmly. This isn't goodbye. Give me 6 months. Let me finish testifying. And then, he took her hand. I'll come back. I'll find a way. They'll never allow it. I don't care. I'll find a way back to you. His grip tightened. If you want me to. Clara looked at their joined hands. My father wants to meet you, she said quietly. Yang's heart stopped. What? He knows everything. What happened that night? What your organization did? What you've done since? She met his eyes. And he wants to meet the man who saved his daughter. Clara, I can't. Tomorrow. Before you leave. Just once. Her voice cracked. Please. Yang knew it was a risk. Knew it violated every protocol. But he also knew he couldn't walk away without facing the man whose life his world had destroyed. Okay, he whispered. Tomorrow. The next day, Yang stood outside Marcus Washington's hospital room, his legs shaking. Clara squeezed his hand once, then pushed open the door. Marcus Washington was sitting up in bed, thinner but alive and awake, and looking at him with eyes that held no hatred. Only exhaustion and understanding. So you're Yang, Marcus said, his voice rough from months of disuse. Yes, sir. The man who runs the organization that put me in this bed. Yes, sir. And the man who destroyed that organization to save my daughter. Yang said nothing. Marcus studied him for a long moment. My daughter tells me you couldn't walk until you met her. That's correct. And that you can walk now. Because of her. Yes. Show me. Yang let go of Clara's hand and took several steps across the room. His gait was still uneven. But he was walking. Marcus watched, then nodded. Sit down, son. You look like you're about to fall over. Yang sat. I can't forgive you for what happened to me, Marcus said bluntly. Can't pretend that your organization didn't destroy half a year of my life and put my children through hell. I understand. But Clara tells me you didn't give the order. That you were betrayed by your own people. That you've spent months destroying everything you built to make this right. I have. Why? Yang looked at Clara, standing in the doorway. Because she made me want to be the kind of man who deserved to stand in her presence. Marcus followed his gaze, then looked back at Yang. You love her. It wasn't a question. Yang had spent his life hiding emotions, showing no weakness. But in front of this man, those walls crumbled. Yes, I do. And you're about to disappear into witness protection where she can't follow. Yes. But you plan to come back to her anyway. Even though it's dangerous. Yes. Marcus was quiet for a long time. Then he said, My daughter is the strongest person I know. She's smart and stubborn and has a heart bigger than the whole world. And if she's chosen to care about you despite everything, then maybe you're worth caring about. Yang felt something in his chest crack open. But if you hurt her, Marcus continued, his voice hardening, if you bring danger back into her life, then I don't care how many people you testified against. I will find you myself. Understood. Good. Marcus extended his hand. Then do what you have to do. Finish your testimony. Keep her safe by staying away. And when it's finally safe, he gripped Yang's hand firmly. Come back to her. Don't make her wait forever. Yang shook his hand. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me yet. You haven't earned it. But maybe, in time you will. Yang was relocated the next morning. No phone. No internet. No contact with anyone from his previous life. The isolation was suffocating. 3 months in, his handler brought news. Marcus Washington made a full recovery. Yang felt relief wash over him. And Clara? The handler hesitated. She's been asking about you. Trying to find out where you are. Is she okay? Physically? Yes. But she's not doing well, Yang. Lost weight. Stopped sleeping. Yang's hands clenched into fists. Can I send her something? No. Any contact could compromise your location. Then tell her I'm coming back. Tell her to wait for me. I can't do that either. So Yang stayed. And testified. And counted down the days. Month 4 brought more news. The trials were progressing faster than expected. You'll be done sooner than we thought, his handler said. Maybe 4 months instead of 6. Yang marked the calendar. Started counting days instead of months. But then, in month 5, everything changed. His handler burst into the safe house at 2 a.m., weapon drawn. We need to move. Now. What's happening? Someone leaked your location. We have maybe 15 minutes. Yang's blood ran cold. They moved fast. New location. New identity. New security protocols. But the damage was done. Yang wasn't safe anymore. We're pulling you from testimony, his handler said. No. I'm finishing this. Yang. I said I'm finishing this. His voice was sharp. I gave up everything to do the right thing. I'm not stopping now. The handler stared at him. You're going to get yourself killed. Maybe, but I'm going to finish what I started first. The final testimonies took 6 more weeks. 6 weeks of moving locations every few days, of knowing that every shadow could hide someone waiting to kill him. But he finished. Gave his last testimony on a cold morning in early March. That's it, the prosecutor said. We have everything we need. Yang walked out knowing his old life was finally, completely dead. But maybe a new one could begin. He called his handler. I'm done. I want out of protection. That's suicide. I don't care. I kept my end of the deal. Now I'm leaving. Where will you go? Yang thought about a woman with warm hands and kind eyes. Home, he said. I'm going home. He bought a plane ticket to Seoul under his new identity. Clara's apartment was in a quiet neighborhood. Yang stood outside for 10 minutes, trying to work up the courage to knock. What if she'd moved on? What if 5 months had been too long? He knocked anyway. Footsteps. The door opened. Clara stood there in pajamas, her hair messy, her eyes red-rimmed. She looked at him. Really looked at him. Yang, hi. Her face crumpled. Then she launched herself at him, wrapping her arms around his neck so tightly he could barely breathe. You came back, she sobbed. You actually came back. Yang held her, his own eyes burning. I promised I would. They stood in her doorway, holding each other, neither willing to let go. When they finally pulled apart, Clara dragged him inside. You can't be here, she said, even as she pulled him toward her couch. They said contact with you could put you in danger. I left the program. Clara froze. What? I finished testifying. And then I left. Yang squeezed her hand. Because I'd rather risk everything and be with you than be safe and alone. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Probably. You could die. I've been dying for years, Clara. Dying in that wheelchair. Dying in my empty penthouse. He pulled her closer. But when I'm with you, I'm alive. Clara's hands came up to frame his face. This is crazy. You keep saying that. Because it is. You're a wanted man. I'm a teacher. We have no future that makes any sense. Yang kissed her. Kissed her the way he'd wanted to for 5 months. Kissed her like she was oxygen and he'd been drowning. When they broke apart, both were shaking. I love you, Yang said. I know I have no right to. I know I'm everything you shouldn't want. But I love you, Clara Washington. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of you. Clara was crying again, but she was smiling too. You're such an idiot. I know. I love you too. Yang felt his legs go weak. But this time it wasn't nerve damage. It was relief. Joy. Hope. He was still holding her when her apartment door burst open. Men in dark clothes flooded in. Weapons raised. Former members of his organization. People who'd escaped prosecution. People who wanted revenge. The leader smiled coldly. Hello, boss. Long time no see. Clara screamed. Yang pushed her behind him. Let her go. This is between us. Oh, we know exactly who she is. The woman who made you weak. The reason you destroyed everything. The leader's smile widened. We're going to enjoy killing her slowly while you watch. Yang's mind raced. 5 of them. All armed. He was unarmed. The odds were impossible. He looked back at Clara. At the fear in her eyes. I'm sorry, he whispered. I should never have come back. Shut up, Clara said fiercely. Don't you dare apologize for loving me. She reached for his hand. The moment their skin touched, Yang felt it. That familiar electric current. His legs steadied. His vision sharpened. He turned back to the men. Last chance. Leave now, and I won't have to hurt you. They laughed. You can barely walk. What are you going to? Yang moved. Faster than he'd moved in years. Faster than should have been possible. He closed the distance, disarmed the closest man, used him as a shield. Chaos erupted. But Yang had spent his life surviving violence. Had built an empire on being better, faster, more ruthless. And now, with Clara's presence giving him strength, he became that man again. Just long enough. When the fight ended, all 5 men were on the ground. Yang stood over them, breathing hard, his body screaming. Clara was on the phone with police. Yang looked at his hands. At the blood on them. At the violence he'd promised himself he'd left behind. I'm sorry you had to see that, he said quietly. Clara hung up and crossed to him. Put her hand on his cheek. Don't apologize for protecting me. I'm a monster, Clara. You saw what I can do. I saw you save our lives. Her voice was firm. I saw the man I love do whatever it took to keep us safe. That's not a monster. Sirens wailed in the distance. Clara grabbed Yang's hand. We need to run. What? The police are coming. They'll arrest you. And I just got you back. She squeezed his fingers. So we're running. Clara, you can't. Watch me. She was already grabbing her passport, stuffing clothes into a bag. My father's stable. My brother has his own life. And you? She turned to look at him. You walked into gunfire for me. Destroyed your empire for me. So I'm not letting them take you away again. Yang stared at her. You'll lose everything. I choose you, Clara said simply. I choose us. Whatever that looks like. The sirens were getting closer. Yang thought about all the reasons this was a terrible idea. All the ways this could end in disaster. Then he thought about spending the rest of his life without her. About never feeling her touch again. Okay, he whispered. Let's run. They grabbed what they could carry and fled out the back, just as police cars screeched to a stop out front. Ran through alleys and side streets, their hands clasped together, their hearts pounding in sync. At the train station, Yang used cash to buy tickets heading south. They boarded just as the train was pulling out. Collapsed into their seats, breathing hard, looking at each other with wild eyes. We just ran from the police, Clara said, half laughing, half crying. Yeah, I'm a fugitive now. Pretty much. This is insane. Completely. She kissed him, hard and desperate and alive. When they broke apart, Yang said, I can't promise you a normal life. Can't promise we'll be safe. I don't want a normal life. Clara's fingers threaded through his. I want you. Broken and dangerous and impossible. I want all of you. Yang felt his eyes burning. Then you have me. For as long as you want me. Forever, then. Forever it is. The train carried them south through the night while police searched for them. While Yang's enemies regrouped. While their old lives burned behind them and their new life waited somewhere ahead in the darkness. Yang looked down at their joined hands. At the woman who'd brought him back to life. At the impossible future they were building one desperate choice at a time. His legs were steady. His heart was full. And for the first time in his life, he was exactly where he wanted to be. Even if the whole world was hunting them. Even if they had no plan and nowhere to go. Even if everything could fall apart tomorrow. Because Clara's hand was warm in his. And when she touched him, he could walk. And maybe love was enough to carry them the rest of the way. The train disappeared into the night. Behind them, Seoul woke to news of Yang's return. Of the fight in Clara's apartment. Of two people who'd chosen each other over everything else. But whether they'd survive what came next, that's a story for another time. Drop a comment right now telling me if you want part 2. Because I'm leaving you here, on this train, with Yang and Clara running toward an uncertain future. Will they make it? Will his enemies find them? Will Clara's family ever forgive her? And what about Marcus? Does he know his daughter just became a fugitive? Hit that like button if this story had you on the edge of your seat. Subscribe because you know you need to see what happens next. And comment part 2 if you're ready for the next chapter of this impossible love story. Because this is far from over.